inspired, may not be inspired to send the recording straight away. So you may think you are recording and then you run away and don't get this message immediately. You'd rather stay. Okay. So before I proceed, I want us I will be giving some of the rules that we shall be using and some of the guidelines we have to keep in mind, and also that we can even start right now. I see everyone has entered this meeting with their real name. If there is anyone in this meeting and their name is the name of the gadget they are using, let me say Techno or iPhone, you'd rather change your name to the name of your Zoom to your real name. Let me say Onesmus Kansime. If Onesmus have entered into this meeting as Kafiti, you should be able to change his name to Onesmus Kansime for the rest of the tournament. Yeah. Then the other thing is, one, I want to rush into this is a meeting about formal things, but don't worry if we handle some things informally as in procedure. So first of all, just handle your pens, and then first of all, I shared the program with all of us in the WhatsApp groups, and we shall be starting the everyday's program at 9. And the faster we get into the room, the faster it will be for us to finish the day's program and then wait for another day. So there should be strict respect for time. Today I can see people joining 10 minutes later than they should have joined. That means that tomorrow if you join and then you are already into a debate session, that may pose trouble for you. Secondly, some of us could have been affected by network connectivity, and that's why we try to join this meeting. Tomorrow it is important that you identify a place with good network connectivity so that it does not disrupt your entry and stay within the meeting. Yeah, kindly, if your teammate has not yet joined, take notes and inform them of what we are saying today. Then the other thing is we shall be using this same link for the meeting. The link is the same. I just changed on the titles of today's meeting, but this is going to be the link for the whole tournament, and it is good that you keep it in the start messages or you pin it to your email so that you join in time. And then the other thing could be about data refund. Usually, and for all tournaments that you have attended, because some people register and then at the end of the day do not come up to participate, they get lost at nowhere. It is recommended that we give this data on the last day of the tournament, and therefore data refund will depend on the last day's attendance. Whereas we shall be capturing every day's attendance, we shall decide on who gets this data on the last day. So make sure you attend every day. We shall be giving data of at least 10 GB, and if that is revised, we could even provide more data to all of us apart from the judges. So take note of the data required. Then the other thing is respect for one another. I don't need to go into emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, and communication skills that transcend communication to the understanding of emotion. Please kindly be respectful to one another during this tournament. Another point, those who want to make changes, some of you are making changes to your teams. It is advised that we make these changes by course of afternoon business today. Afternoon ends at 3 p.m. If you even do it earlier than that, the better. Just send me a text message or an email or a WhatsApp or give me a call, not right now in the meeting, but after this meeting, and communicate your changes. If you think your teammate is likely not to make it, make that clear to us and also get your teammate and inform us in time so that we can see what to do, because we have already done the pairings and we have captured the information. And it's very important that if changes are to be made, they are made in time. or in Boxer or Kuku James Jr. will be speaking to us today as well about your changes, or speak to Donald Massa, who will be our tournament, the head of CAP. Then I'm also going to be sharing a document that captures our email addresses and the phone numbers registered to receive the data required. Kindly look into that Excel document. I'll share it after this, and inbox me in case you find there are mistakes on your name, in your email address, and also on the phone number that you registered. Then the other thing is that when in the meeting and you have poor internet connectivity, it is very calculated that you switch off your video. That also improves your internet connectivity in case you are in a hard to go area for internet. Then always check your email addresses. We shall be sending, for example, the URLs and also some important communication. And also keep alert for any important communication in WhatsApp. There is a message which has been in the WhatsApp group for now over 3 or 4 days for the registration of your details, and some of you are just seeing it today. And if that goes on for the rest of the tournament, it will be bad for us on the side of communication. Before I go further, I want to inform you that this tournament is going to have 88 teams. I mean 88 participants, 44 teams, and 22 universities and less otherwise. So it is a large tournament. Then the other thing is the purpose of this tournament is to create a youth movement that is focused towards the ending of violence against the child. And this is an advocacy-based tournament. Yes, there is a competitive element in it, strong component in it, but this is largely an advocacy tournament. And therefore, that is why we are at no fault having shared with you the motions for the tournament. And those motions we shared, in addition to that, are draft motions. But even if changes are to be made in those motions that are being shared, the changes are going to be slight. And even if they are complete changes, the motions we already shared will guide the research we have to make and prepare ourselves for this tournament. And also will guide us on what document or materials we have to Google, and also make more research about the subject matter of the theme. We also shared an info kit for us to do more reading. This info kit is about this tournament and should guide us also further on what kind of research we have to make prior. One was asking me about what spam messages mean, and I think, okay, maybe this is a new user of email. Please kindly Google spam is SPAM. So spam, when someone says they have sent you an email and you can't see, you check the spam folder and then you can't find the message. If you don't find it, maybe probably it's still loading from there. If it still takes long, give them a call. Okay, communicate with your teammates. As already I can see, we are 39 people in the meeting and we have registered over 88 debaters. So it really shows that there is poor communication between teammates, or the debate presidents are not communicating to their teams about how they are progressing or preparing for the tournament. And this actually should be something we have to, starting with tomorrow, we have to work on this. We have to make sure that starting with tomorrow, we are communicating with our teammates, and also club presidents. We are communicating with our teams to make sure that attending every meeting we are having or every event we are having. So keep note of that. And the other thing is today afternoon we have the tweet chat. The tweet chat will be a pre-tournament event. This is to help us spread the message about the tournament out there, and also to help us get into the spirit for the tournament. It will begin today afternoon from 2 to 4 p.m. about the same topic. I mean the theme for the tournament. So please participate, and we shall be using the tournament hashtags that are on the poster shared for the tweet chat. Then the other thing, lastly, also on still on quick chats and advocacy. So when you get a Manila paper, you can always write a message about any violence against the child. So this message does not have to be brutal, but it can be informative for the policymakers. And then you can take a photo of that placard with you, and then share share on social media platforms. What I'm saying mustn't be brutal. Please consider the choice of words. We don't want the tournament to be invaded. That some of you are using brutal wording on those placards. Yes, it could be a kind reminder. Maybe end violence against children now. That's a message. Or you can do this and this, end violence against children now. Or something like that. Please think about the box, but make sure you have clear and good and non-brutal wording after the words you put on that placard. Lastly is about how to make inquiries. Now, most of us will be using our phones for this meeting. If you are not using our phones for this meeting, we'll be using our phones to tether our computers to this meeting. Except for the lucky ones who have Wi-Fi in their homes and can use all their gadgets at once. So it will not be good. Like, for example, I'm here speaking right now, and you give me a call via my phone. I may be tethered using my phone and may not be able to pick you. If I pick you, I'm going to drop out of this meeting and I'm not going to follow. So when you're making inquiries when the tournament starts, it is good that instead of making calls, we could send emails. But also, given the fact that we are not yet into that spirit of promptly responding to emails as Africans, I will promptly respond to you or quickly, but not all of us. So you would also send a WhatsApp inbox, a WhatsApp message, or an SMS, and then make inquiries about forwarding conference, which I'll be having feedback forms. So you don't need to call me and then complaining on that and that. The feedback forms will always be read through every after round for us to get a feel of what is taking place across the bedrooms. Now, that is communication from me. I don't know if I look at Joseph is here. I see David Naribi from the Action Aid, and I see also people from the World. So if I can consume most of our time, is I think I've taken note of what I've said. So I'm going to call upon the tab master to give us some information about what is taking place from his side and how we have to work in collaboration with the tab room to make sure that we don't get into trouble, getting into the wrong room, getting into no room, or something like that. After that, we shall have the tournament director, Masa, also give us a word, and then we can hear from our partners what they have to tell us. Let me invite Okuku James Jr., and we can communicate to all of us.
Hello, I hope I am audible and I can be heard by everyone.
Yes, we can hear you, James.
Perfect. Good morning to you all. I hope you are doing well and everything is fine. My name is James Okuku Jr. and I am privileged to be the tab master of this prestigious tournament. It has been my first time working with the CAP team and the organizers, and I can tell you all you are privileged to be, working with such people. So my job today here is to give you a small briefing about how the tab is going to work. And it's going to be very brief. And for those who have questions, I will tag myself on the WhatsApp group and ensure that you ask me the questions and I'll let you know. I had put up a small presentation and let me just be able to access it. Just give me. Okay, can my screen be seen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we are seeing your screen.
All right, perfect. Okay, so at this ITWA tournament, the speakers, I can tell you, and the judges, you have been privileged that the organizing committee did not want to do this manually, but put in efforts for us to use Tabicat. Now, Tabicat is an online software that is used to tab debates all over. It can tab debates in British parliamentary, world school, Canadian parliamentary. So basically, talk about any big tournament, be it the World University Debate Championship, the Oxford, anything, all of them use Tabicat. And that is to say, it uses a system whereby we keep track of the data that comes in from all judges, all participants. So this is particularly on private URLs. So many of you who are asking, what are private URLs? So basically, a private URL is a unique link that is assigned to each and every individual for a means of you checking in virtually. Now, many of you had attended, I think if you've attended some tournaments like WhatsApp debates and what, you would find that during, before a tournament starts or before a round, you find that they put a list and they're like, if you're around, please copy your name, copy your name, copy your name. So that is a very tedious process. But then private URLs make this process easy. Why? It is basically a link that is assigned uniquely to you, that you must keep it. So you log on to this link and you check in, so that we, the tab masters and like the tab team, are aware that you are available and around for the round that is going to take the round that is going to take place. So basically, it enables you allow us know that you are available. So it's a unique number and it's not going to change throughout the tournament. Secondly, a URL, a private URL, can also be used to submit feedback onto the various judges after a round. So usually what happens is that after a round, judges submit their ballots, but then speakers, usually what we encourage is that we get feedback from the speakers on how they felt about the call. So basically, that is what a private URL does for a participant. One, you have the ability to check in. Two, you have the ability to submit feedback on a judge who, judged you or gave feedback. But note, we only submit feedback on open rounds. So an open round is whereby after the round, the judge gives you the call and gives you oral adjudication plus the RFD. So at that point, after that, we encourage all teams. It's not saying that only the first team that ranked first, no, all teams are highly encouraged to put in feedback. And it's going to go a long way in determining which teams break, because we need to get that vital feedback on all judges to ensure that CAP makes the right decision when they are breaking judges. So on the side of judges, a private URL also helps you submit your ballot. So we're not going to be using a manual system where, after a round, you send me with the speaker scores and whatsoever. No, you will send me through a ballot from your private URL, but I think we shall discuss that during the judges briefing. Okay, so basically this is how a private URL looks like. It's a simple link that looks like that, and we encourage you to bookmark it. So I'm just going to show you a little bit how it looks like once you press this link. Okay. All right, it's loading, but let's move to the next. Okay, all right. So this is how it looks like. It has your name. So I'm using Ayebare Denise's private URL. She's a swing team. So basically, I think you can see here, this is the check-in button. So you use, when you are coming before a round, check in. And I want to warn the speakers, as much as we have draws already set, I highly encourage all of you to just check in. You get? Because at the end of the day, it's also going to show us which teams are available. Do we need another swing? So I encourage you to still check in, irrespective of the fact that we already have set draws. So this is the check-in button, and I think you can see submit feedback here. So let me just remove this and I show you. So when you tap it like that, I've not got the identifiers yet, but it will light green and show you that you are available. And I, from the tab team, will be able to know that, you are available and you are around to take part in the round. All right, so basically that's how it looks like. You check in, you submit feedback. It's not hectic. And we encourage you to bookmark it. I don't know if all of us know how bookmarking work, but I will try to do something at the end to show you how bookmarking works on the laptop. And I think I'll try to use my phone also, since I got a bit of power. All right, so basically that is it. Private URLs are as simple as that. You use them to check in, use them to submit feedback, and that is like the end of it. So on bookmarking, I hope everyone can see this. Okay. So bookmarking, what you do if you have a PC is simple. If you have a PC, what you then do is that you come up here where there is a star and you simply press bookmark. You say add bookmark, and then you say, you can name it my private URL itwa. You get? So you say done.
James,
Yes?
it seems the screen you are sharing is not the one you are interacting with.
Screen.
The one you are sharing the PowerPoint.
Oh, I think I'm having a bit of, there's a lag. Oh, sorry. Let me just stop sharing and then share once more. Okay. All right, I hope you can all see now.
We are still on the PowerPoint. You are still showing us the PowerPoint. So yeah,
Okay,
now we can see. We can see.
Okay. So by bookmarking, I simply mean that you come, let me just pick a different one. Just give me a second. Okay, by bookmarking, I simply mean, one, you come here to this particular button here. Let me just try to zoom in and show all of you. Okay, I'm not seeing the option, but let me try to draw on it. It's above here. It's here. You get? So what happens is that you simply come and press that star. After pressing that star, you say add bookmark, and it will already have my private URL. So you can simply do this, my private URL, and then you say add. So when you come and check within your bookmarks, you get, it will be available, and you simply tap it, my private URL itwa, and there you are. You have bookmarked it and it is like ready to go. So I just have my phone connected. Let me do my best to also show those who have phones. Just give me a second. I get a private URL here. Then I show you how it's going to work. Okay. All right. Okay, so let me just use my phone. Screen. Okay, I hope all of you can see my phone. So you simply tap your link. It will load there. As you can see, check in. What happens is that you need to come on the side, you get. Then there is this star here. I don't know if, let me just, there's this star here, this star there. That is the star that you then press. Hold on. All right. So you just press that star and it will say bookmark. You press edit and then you can say, you just come and put here my private URL. Then you save, and basically that's it. So at the end of the day, you will not have to stress yourself, and decide to, I don't know, it will not be tiresome for you. At the end of the day, it will make it very, very easy for you. So for those who might have wanted to see how it will look like when you check in, you simply press check in and it will tell you you have checked in. You get? You can, if you feel that you're not going to attend the round, you can come and revoke your check-in, and it says you have revoked your check-in. So on my end, as the tab master, I know that Bosco is unable to attend. You can submit feedback. You get? And this is how it would look like. You come and, for example, if it's Joshua that had judged you, you say Joshua. You come and probably, let's say you ranked 4th, but he was a very good judge and he gave you really constructive feedback. You can give him an 8. Did you agree with the decision? Yes. And then you leave us a good comment. You can say probably is a good judge, feedback was constructive. You get? So what happens here is that you just have to hit submit and then, I'll receive the feedback. Let me just show you how it would look like. So when you hit submit feedback, so it will tell you, thank you, Gulu University Team 1. Your feedback on Joshua Kingdom has been recorded. And then thereafter you go back and you're done. It is as simple as that. Yes. I think if the session allows for questions, I will be able to take 1 or 2. Other than that, I encourage you to inbox me so that I have the ability to, get to you. Okay. I think. Ooh. All right. I hope I was able to make the session as easy and simple that everyone has the ability to comprehend it. Because if you mix up these things, it's going to be difficult for us to, run the tournament. I'm just checking the chat box. Oh, yeah, I made the identifiers. No worries, no worries. I worked on the identifiers already, but you don't need to check in now. It's starting tomorrow. So I think it's when tomorrow that you'll start checking in. Other than that, I think I am done. And how shall we get? I sent out emails. I encourage you all to check the spam. But if you've been unable to get them, just send me an email. Send me an email. Let me just put here my email. I encourage all of you to inbox me. By the end of today, we hope that each and every one has got their private URL so that we do not have these fights tomorrow when you want a URL, and we need to ensure that this tournament moves smoothly. And for that to happen, speakers need to comply and ensure that on their end, everything is good. So yes, you don't have a private URL, you can send me an email, or as I said, I'm going to tag myself on the group. Please just inbox me and say my name is this, I don't have my private URL, and my email is this. And I'll get to you in the shortest time possible. Mr. Onesmus, I think I'm done here.
Thank you so much, James. I'm not sure anyone with a question for James. I see you have posted your concerns in the chat. But you see, things of technology, we already think maybe others are going to laugh at us while we are understanding very fast. But it will not be good when actually instead of asking to understand, you actually fail to log in or even proceed with the tournament. Or your data is not well captured because you don't know how to use that thing. Then that would be very clear that you actually don't know how to use it. So you'd rather ask and also help someone else who is afraid of asking. If someone brave and has a very pressing issue and feel they need clarity on it, raise your hand. Atwines Shabrina, kindly unmute yourself and speak.
Right, thank you so much. I have a question. I don't know if it's, okay, I'm quite sure it's to be addressed by the tab master. Before, when we were registering, we had a teammate, a team that registered from my university, but then after she fell sick, she's still like really sick, she can't be able to attend, but we were able to communicate in time to the organizers and they promised that they would work on the issue. But right now I'm from checking the draws. I see the draws for round 1 tomorrow are out and still the problem is not rectified. So I don't know like if it's like okay for the changes to be made or I don't know.
Okay, hi. So let me answer that. I think there are tons of changes that are coming in and I can only handle one at a time. But by the end of the day, we'll handle that change. Please just inbox us with the name of the university and who you want to make changes on, because since yesterday we are making a couple of changes, and since the tournament has not yet begun, starting tomorrow, we'll have the ability to make them. I'm so sorry if I handled it late, but what I can say is that there are tons of inquiries and issues coming in, and I'm trying my best to work on them, but trust me, before today ends, it will all be sorted.
Thank you, James. Trina, you can lower your hand and let's listen from Bosa. Bosa, you can ask your question.
Thank you so much. I hope I can be heard. My question is simply one that about the private URLs, where one does neither sees their URL in their inbox nor in the spam folder. What should they do? Like,
maybe I can respond to that. You inbox Okuku. You don't have control over it.
I don't know.
So you may not have to change anything. So you inbox Okuku James Jr. and then he works on it. We already spoke about that. So Bosa, you can lower your hand unless you want to sustain and make another inquiry. Okay. So before I call upon Masa to speak to us, we just listened from Okuku. What you feel and you're still afraid to ask publicly, you can reach out to him and ask him. And he'll be he'll respond to you promptly and appropriately. But remember, even people want to make changes, please make and inform us about those changes before close of afternoon today. Afternoon closes at 3 p.m., not at 3 p.m. At 3 p.m., kindly reach out to us with the changes you want to make. Let me first make this communication and then Nyamulunja will get to you. Then, so inform us about the changes you want to make in time. Please don't wait for tomorrow morning and start informing us. If you have a teammate who is not sure, if they are going to debate tomorrow and they are telling you they'll give you feedback at midnight, kindly inform us so that maybe we can drop the teammate and find another one through your debate president, or we can drop the entire team. Okay, so inform us in time. Then the other question in the chat room was on getting a teammate. This was from Kansine Gilbert. kindly your debate presidents, when they were registered with a team, if they didn't inform you already, if you are a debate president on this platform that did not inform your teammates on your teams, on team members on who their teammates would be, you are doing a disservice to your society, the great society, and the nation at large. And the more we do things that way, then as young people, we may not realize the position we want to sit at on that table, because that really shows that somehow, somewhere, we are not clinging to the principles. So if you're a debate president and you're not communicating to your team members, kindly do them that service and do it. So there's no formality of selecting your teammates. You select your teammates from your end, and for us, we just receive the entire team. Then is there space to change names? Yes, I've spoken about that. How many debate rounds do we have per day? I shared the program in the WhatsApp group, and Mr. Thierry Bosco, go back to the WhatsApp group and check on that program. Everything is laid out clearly on how many debate tournaments, at what time we start and at what time we end. Another question in the chat room: what is the tournament platform? Obviously, we are going to use Zoom. As already communicated, we are going to be using the same link we have used during this. So we are going to be using Zoom. So we have maybe other backup platforms which we don't have to communicate just in case maybe Zoom fails, we can get to those. But tentatively, and now 99% permanently, we are going to be using Zoom for our debates. And I think I will return to Nyamlungi later. It's Donald Massa here, kindly unmute. So Donald Massa is going to give us, there are some of the nitty-gritties we need to know from the educators panel. We are going to be using, of course, the British parliamentary format. And some of you could be novices and need to know some of, to know how to use this format. And also, given that this is an advocacy tournament, we may also want to communicate on how maybe the criterion for judgment may change. Okay, so let's listen from Massa. Please, if you have a question, kindly drop it in the chat room. We shall respond. Yeah, Massa, you can speak.
Thank you, Onesimus. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Massa.
All right. Good morning to everyone. My name is Donald Massa. I have the utmost privilege of serving as the chief adjudicator for this tournament. And I'm happy to meet all of you. It's unfortunate many participants are not in this meeting. We have over 88 debaters, but I can only see about 48. I hope all of you who are here can return the information provided in this meeting to your colleagues who are not here, because we shall not be repeating this information. So we don't have much time. The tournament begins tomorrow morning at 9 sharp. You have all been availed the program on WhatsApp. If you have not, please contact Onesimus. So we will have 4 preliminary debate rounds. That is tomorrow. We will have 3 rounds starting at 10 in the morning until about 4 p.m. And then on Thursday, we will have the 4th preliminary round. Then we will go to quarterfinals and semifinals. And then on Friday, we will have the finals debate and announcement of winners. As you have been informed, this debate shall run using the British parliamentary debate format, which I'm sure many of you have some familiarity with. My Deputy Chief Adjudicator, Ms. Sarah Kenyana Rusoke, will be conducting a British parliamentary training, and I'd like to encourage all of you to attend so that you get to grips with the format and ask all the questions that you want about the format. If you're not familiar with British parliamentary, it will be quite confusing because it's quite technical. You need to understand your speaker roles, your burdens, and the nature of how the debate is run. So I hope you do pay attention to that. As Onesimus has indicated, this is an advocacy tournament, so a lot of emphasis will be put on how you're able to articulate policy proposals, and interventions and advocacy proposals towards solving the major challenge that this theme is addressing, which is ending violence against children. I hope you've all read the tournament concept brief that was shared with you. Please read it. Please also look at extra materials on the rights of children. Familiarize yourselves with the Children's Act of Uganda. Read the African Children's Charter, read the UN Children's Charter, and also read general documentation on the rights of children from UN agencies and NGOs and so on and so forth, so that you're able to have the right information. This debate will be judged on your ability to convincingly argue positions for the policy or advocacy relating to the theme. So please get informed on that. The platform, as has been indicated, will be Zoom. So we'll be using this very same briefing room, and you will be broken up into breakout rooms for your debates. We will have 11 debate rooms that we'll be using. So each of you will be assigned, and our technical person, Alex, will be on hand to assign all of you. The Tab Master has briefed you on Tabicat, which will be the platform for checking in, submitting feedback on judges. We want you to give your feedback on judges so that we know which judges are good to continue towards the quarterfinals and onwards, and which judges are not. We also have an equity panel, which is our conflict resolution panel. If you have any conflict of interest with any judge, you'll be able to submit using clash forms that will be shared with you by the equity panel to raise your complaint. If one of the judges doesn't like you, or you guys don't like each other, or you've been involved in a relationship or whatever, and you don't think they're competent to judge you, you'll be able to indicate that. Go to Tabicat and look at the list of judges. And when the clash forms are shared, you can be able to give feedback on the judges. And also after every round, if you have any issues with judges, please make use of those clash forms to give your feedback so that we can resolve any conflict of interest issues that might arise. We shall introduce you to the equity panel in the main briefing group on WhatsApp. The other thing is we have about 15 judges in this debate. So many rooms will be chaired by a single judge panel. We have made sure to have competent and experienced judges. So we don't expect many issues regarding adjudication, but we encourage you to raise any issues to any of us on the core adjudication panel, myself, my Deputy Chief Adjudicator, Sarah Kenyana, but also Onesmus, who's the Tournament Director, and Mr. Joseph Tainduka, who's the Deputy Tournament Director. And for issues regarding the tab, your results, your rankings, and your feedback, Mr. James Okuku, who has just spoken to you. Motions, you received some draft motions from Onesmus. Those motions are going to be reviewed to balance them out and make sure they give everyone an opportunity on both the government and opposition teams to have a quality debate. So all motions for every round shall be released 15 minutes to the round. So use the motions that were given to you as basically informative to read up and understand the theme, but the final motions that you will use will slightly differ from those that have been given to you and will be released 15 minutes to every round, as is the case with BP. Speaking time will also be 7 minutes for every speaker. which is standard time for BP, and your first minute of your speech will be protected, and so will the last minute. But within the 5 minutes after the first minute and before the last minute, you will be interrupted with points of information by speakers on the opposite bench from which you'll be speaking. And these points of information we recommend will be raised in the chat. So you can raise your hand or write P or I in the chat, or unless you prefer, you can inform the speakers to unmute and say P or I verbally so you can hear them. But that will be something you'll be at the discretion to decide alongside the chair of your respective debate. So like I said, as soon as my Deputy Chief Adjudicator comes, should be able to give you a brief training on British parliamentary. We'll also share some materials in the group for you to read. But for now, if there are any questions regarding the format and any technical aspects of the debate besides the tab which you've already covered, please raise them and we can answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. Again, if you have questions, you can raise your hand. And also, if you feel you want to raise your question privately, Donald Massa kindly put in the chat room your email address and your two contacts, phone contacts, MTN and Airtel, for people to be able to reach out to you. But as already said, if the meeting is going on, it will not be good for us to be making calls because some of us will be using our phones for the meeting. So you could do a WhatsApp message or an SMS or send an email. Do not please share your WhatsApp contacts. I mean your telephone number. And also Okuku James, kindly do the same. You only shared your email address. Though in the WhatsApp group, some people may not easily identify you. So just share your numbers. Both MTN and Airtel, but if there is a very strong issue on privacy and security, you may choose to share one. Okay, so there are questions in the chat room. First of all, this is what I'll say. We have to always enter the meeting room early because all these questions are already addressed to them. And meaning if you don't respect time tomorrow, these are the costs we are going to incur for this tournament and on individual performance and also the policies we shall be proposing for our children who may be our own or our children. So time is very important in everything and in all of this. So first question, how do we access the draws? We shall, now that goes to the hub master, but just click on that link you shared and then you're able to access the draws we have. So I think on that, Okuku, you need to unmute before I invite David Nyaribi to speak to us from the Action Aid or the DCA to give us guidelines on the format. Then the other thing is was inquiring about the provision of data. Now the provision of data is provided on the final day of the tournament. Why? We are not at fault for doing that, but some people just after the tournament gets the data and don't attend. And therefore, we shall be capturing attendance of every day. And then on the final day, we shall also look at the attendance of that very final day and then send that data immediately on the final day. So then the other thing, like I said before, after addressing that, how the access draws, Okuku is going to speak about that, or you can even inbox it by now. So Sala Kenyana.
Hello, am I audible?
Okay, James, you're audible.
Hi, so I hope I'm audible. Okay, for the private URLs that I sent you, those private URLs can still access Tabicat. So as much as they're your private URLs, but they still give you access to the tab. So you'll simply check, there is an option above that has draws. So when you tap it, it has draws for the 4 preliminary rounds. They were pre-generated. So I hope that answers the question. Your private URLs can still access the tab.
Thank you, James. So Salah Kenyan, I don't need to give us a very comprehensive training right now because we are out of time. Just take a few minutes and give us a highlight of what PP is and share some of the documents the WhatsApp group. And in case of any questions, raise them here or send out a text message or a WhatsApp message. So Salah Kenyan, unmute your microphone and speak for us. Salah, are you in the meeting? Okay. As Salah prepares her material, let's listen from David. David, unmute. What do you expect of us, the debaters, in this tournament from the partners' side? And then after that, we can hear from Alex. So Alex will be supporting us in making sure that we are not disrupted by the ups and downs of the internet and technology. So he'll also be speaking that to us from that angle. David, kindly unmute.
A good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon.
I hope I am audible. Onesmus, am I audible?
Very audible from apart.
Thank you very much. Yes, my name is David Nyaribi, and I am representing ActionAid International Uganda, but also the global platform, which is a department dedicated to supporting and working with young people. I am also the ambassador of possibilities because I love to inspire, motivate, and empower young people on issues that can make their lives better and to enjoy everyday life anyway. So I would want to begin with a registration of appreciation to the leadership of this tournament. Of course, our tournament director, the adjudicators, everyone that is playing a role to make this tournament a great success. But of course, World Vision as the lead partner or the host of this tournament, the Uganda Dialogue Arena, the Uganda Debate President's Council, and of course us, the global platform that is coming under the umbrella of ActionAid International. We are extremely excited, I can say on my behalf, but also on behalf of the global platform. We are extremely excited about this tournament. Actually, we were discussing today and said that this is like now the icing on the Youth Week, because last week we were having the Youth Week, which climaxed with the International Youth Day. And we're talking, of course, about food systems and all this. But now this particular one that we are going to be tackling, advocacy for children, you cannot have youth unless you have had children, and you will not have adults unless you have had youth. So the stages, so we are dealing with the foundation, we are dealing with the roots, and this excites me. If we were not protected, if we were not supported, if we were not advocated for to some level, to some degree, perhaps I would not be here today. Perhaps you would not be there today. That's why when we thought through it, we said the very best will be our institutions of learning, because you are at a pivotal stage of your lives. We are at a pivotal stage of our lives as young people, as youth. So we can be the torch bearers, we can be the key advocates, we can be the ambassadors of young people, ambassadors of children. That's why this advocacy tournament is so amazing, so exciting for us. And we are hoping that everyone can come in with everything that they have. For us as partners, we of course expect and honor your full participation. I pray and hope that this will be beyond data refund. It will be just beyond being seen as a great speaker, but it will touch hearts. It will ignite a passion for the advocacy for children. it will be a moment for us to begin to reflect and have conversations around how we can protect the Ugandan child, the East African child, and of course the African child in general. So that's what is exciting us. That's what is keeping us on our toes. That is what is keeping people like Onesimus working extremely very hard, because we know if the future is going to be bright or brighter than we have imagined, then the children must be protected, the children must be supported. So we expect full participation, but also I always say it that when the right people meet in the right place and do the right things, great things happen. So whereas we are here for debate, we are here for the tweet chat, I am sure there are going to be extra benefits. We're already learning about more how to use technology. My brother Okuku has already given us a dose, and more is yet to come. So there are going to be extra benefits if we dig in and expect the very best. This tournament is not going to leave us the same. In life, we have defining moments. This could be it. We are going to connect as friends. Who knows, the team that you will verse at a particular round, you will connect with those people beyond even this debate. So I pray that you come with all that you have, with all your intellect, come with your head, yes, but also come with your heart to be part of this, so that even we go beyond this. But of course, the core is advocacy for the children. So full participation, come with your very best. I always tell people, come in your best version, come at your very best. Have enough rest, take enough water, and come at your very best. Both the ladies and the gents, come at your very best. Thank you very much. I wish you the very best, and I will also be in the debates. I will be an observer. I have already registered as an observer, and the global platform is ready to support you. And I can promise that this is the beginning of our partnership. We shall take this to another level in many other forums. Thank you very much. I wish you the very best.
Thank you so much, David. On the point of registration, kindly inform your teammates to register themselves before close of business today, because that also will help us make sure that we are in the meeting tomorrow morning. So when the time is right, because when they start registering tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., they're going to enter that meeting at 9:30, and at 9:30 we shall be receiving the closing government on the debating side. Therefore, they would rather register now. You never know what may happen to the program. We may choose that instead of the opening ceremony, we do after the first round. So be in that bedroom by 9. Before I receive Salah Akenyana, Alex, please communicate to us. You have great experience in organizing such events, and you may want to communicate to the participants some of the hiccups that may arise if they don't listen from you. So Alex, kindly unmute and speak to us. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Onesmus. Thank you, team, for taking off your precious time. And you get to involve and participate in this. My name is Alex Senyondwa. I'm a customer support analyst with ICT, working with World Vision. And I'll be doing the technical groundwork, making sure that you're supported on this Zoom platform. Now, when we guys are doing our registration, we are looking at numbers. And from what I've been recording since morning, by around 11, we had 63 people who had been approved as registered for this debate. And I want to encourage you that get all your teams to register on time, because if we do register on time, what is going to happen is that you have everyone on board and you have less excuses. But if you are thinking of registering tomorrow morning, many of you are going to have hiccups in the morning, and yet you want to participate and win. So I want to encourage you, just like Onesmus said, we are running we are running out of time, but the registration has been really slow compared to the numbers we are targeting. And also, just for this meeting, we are about 40. We are ranging between 41 to 45, and yet we are expecting about 88 participants. Now that's really amazing. If our target is 88 and we just have half of the team, and we are thinking that the other half will have to pick all this information from you, I believe there will be a couple of shockwaves. So make sure that, I don't know, as you disseminate this information, make sure, first of all, that you're getting the right information and disseminating it well, because I know as the remaining numbers come through, about the 32, 36 people, as they get to come through, we expect nothing else but what has been clearly communicated from here. And I want to encourage you to get good connectivity. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start doing the testing right now. Test your microphone. Do all the different forms of testing that you need to do right on time. Don't wait to do that tomorrow, because you really have so many challenges. And remember, you need to cut out all forms of excuses. If you need help, please cry out and find the help. Onesmus guaranteed some data for a couple of you. Now, if you really need help, make sure that you cry out right now. If your phone is not so good, if your computer is not so good, there are several options, and you can be advised to jump into some of those options. And also, if your network is not really good, maybe your home, you might need to move to a particular location where you know that you'll be guaranteed good connectivity for hours, because we are running for some few hours of the day. So that is what I want to say. And my communication is simple. They encourage many of the participants to register on time, and let them expect the best for tomorrow. Yeah, that is pretty much it from me, Onesmus, unless we have any questions coming through, but that is it. Thanks.
Thank you, Alex. Also, his contact is in the WhatsApp group, and in the WhatsApp group, so we can reach out to him on matters relating to what has been communicated, and also to James, Donald, Sarah, Paindika, on matters that are pertinent to the advocate of operation. And let me invite Sala Kenyana. So Sala, you also give us your contact address. Please kindly type it before you start speaking. Type it in the chat room, and then that could be the opening statement of your presentation. Type it. That will be the first one for your start. So you capture all these contacts and make sure when you have an issue that they have to address, you reach out to them, stroke us. We are waiting for your contact, Sarah. you'd want to give the contact after you have spoken, kind and unmute and speak to us. We have been waiting for you from a long time now. Sarah Kenyana Lusoka, are you having trouble? You could also inform us.
Sorry, I was having a little trouble in meeting.
Quite an invasion from sorry.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Kindly stay in a stable position.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Sarah Kenyana Lusoka, and for this particular tournament, I'll be acting as the DCA, and I'm very happy to be here. So I want a little clarification. Should I start the training right away, or do I just need to introduce myself first?
You can do all concurrently. The introduction we cannot take 10 minutes.
Okay, well, let's dive right into it. So I hope the debaters are paying as much attention as they possibly can. This debate, this tournament is going to be majorly advocacy based. So you're looking at the rights of children and the violence that has been directed towards them. So majorly, most of the debates are going to be ones that revolve around policy suggestions and solution-based debates. So you need to keep that at the back of your mind, because mostly we are trying to pick your minds on what can be done about violence that is directed towards children in Uganda. Secondly, there are things you need to know. Now let's go into the specifics. We're going to use the British parliamentary system of debate. And unless there is anyone here who has never had this particular system, who has never been a part of it before, please indicate it in the chat so that you can be a little bit more specific. But for matters of understanding the very basics of British parliamentary, there are 4 teams in the debate: the opening government, the closing government, the opening opposition, and the closing opposition. So each team will comprise of 2 debaters. You, for example, if you are in the government bench and you're in the opening government, you are majorly having the same ideas, or more specifically, the same policy with your closing, but there will be certain things that distinguish you, that distinguish them from you, or that distinguish you from them. So it is very important that you try to be as better in your speeches and as more articulate and analytical as you possibly can, because these are the things that raise you higher than your counterparts, even though you're literally on the same side. So in British parliamentary, usually we use 7 minutes of speech. That's the basic package. And if we keep time in this debate and in this tournament, we'll be using that very time. Secondly, there are certain things in British parliamentary system that are different from the things that we meet in other debates. One of them is extension, and this is very important. So what is an extension? Every time you are in the closing, and before I proceed, I'm asking that if you have never had this system before, please indicate in the chat so that I can tend this, this training to suit your very particular needs. So yeah, I was still talking about extensions. So extensions are only particular to British parliamentary system. You will not find them in any other debates. So for example, let's say that the debate is this house would abolish multi-party dispensations, and you are in the opening government, and the opening government presents its case that is truly convincing, and they give their views and their arguments for why multi-party dispensations are not good for example, maybe democracies or something like that. And as the closing, of course, you are agreeing. As the closing government, you are agreeing with their case. What distinguishes you from them, and what makes it possible for you not to repeat what they've already said, is the part of extension. The extension is usually one, the analysis. You can introduce a different analysis of the debate, try to introduce new content, but in line with what has already been presented. Secondly, you can bring in more views. Thirdly, and this has been common in more advanced debates, you can introduce, for example, where in policy debates, where the other person introduces a policy, and of course the other side has tried as much as they possibly can to put down that particular policy, you can modify the policy. And you just make sure that when I am looking at my balance sheet, when I'm looking at my judging sheet, I see that 1, 2, or 3 things that make you absolutely better than your opening counterparts. And that is the extension. You put in as much time in the extension as you possibly can. In certain cases, or when you are facing maybe new judges, you may find it important to state that, for example, dear judge, this is my extension. But if you are facing, and I think it is a little bit safer to always introduce your extension, even for advanced judges. I've seen judges who maybe are dozing off or something, and they need to know, for example, clearly that is what constitutes as your extension in your particular side. So whereas the extension is important, rebuttal in British parliamentary is also just as important. For example, when the opening government starts its case, it is expected that the opening opposition will poke holes into the debate. So there are so many other unanswered questions that are risen in the first half of the debate that make it very important for you to address them in the closing part of the debate. As you weigh, you realize that these answers also add to how distinguishable you are from your opening counterparts. And rebuttal is just as key. And take note, I'm rolling through because this is essentially supposed to be a briefing. So please feel free to post questions in the chat. I'm also going to send in content on WhatsApp, contents on argumentation, on extension, on introduction to British parliamentary, so that you'll be able to read even as we progress within the tournament. Yeah, so in terms of rebuttal, and this particularly goes to novice debaters, but also to debaters who may have not grasped the concept of rebuttal as well as they should. So in terms of rebuttal is supposed to be the point where you disagree, simply the point where you clash. The other people are saying this, but you are saying this. So how do you phrase that? I have been in debates where students simply state that they disagree. I disagree. And I'm very confident that we're not going to have instances like this in this debate because I have interacted with most of the debaters and I know that you are way better than this, but just for statement's sake, it is very important that you do not just disagree, but you show the point of disagreement and you ensure that that point of disagreement outweighs the already stated statement. Otherwise, you're just speaking and then the judge in the room or the judges in the room may not particularly factor in what you have spoken. So rebuttal is very key. And thirdly, so I've already stated 2 concepts, a concept of extension, rebuttal, and the third is the concept of argumentation. Now, this one is the root of every single debate and every single debater anywhere in the world, whether they are debating in Chinese or in France or in whatever, whichever part of the world you are in, if you are a debater, argumentation is always very key. What constitutes an argument is 3 major parts: the claim. Am I really forgetting? Sorry. So the parts of argumentation are: you state the claim. For example, say that multi-party dispensations are dangerous to growing democracies. Secondly, you're going to state the logic. Why are multi-party dispensation, or why is the system of multi-party dispensation bad for growing democracies? And then the third part is the proof. After you've stated the claim, of course, the claim is a statement you say that I do not particularly have to agree with because usually it's a biased one. The logic can also be biased to your way of thinking, but it's the proof that cements it. It's what makes the argument whole. And most of the times we have issues as debaters in identifying these 3 parts, and often we make half arguments And then we get very angry when we are penalized for that, mostly when the other team has done a better job. So you are supposed to make the argument as a whole for you to stand a better chance of winning a particular argument and of course a particular debate. What else that is important in terms of argumentation is to recognize what the major arguments in a debate are. Now, this can be counterintuitive sometimes because we may not particularly know why or which particular argument is better or deserves more attention in a debate. For example, you are in a debate as whichever side you are on, and you realize that for me, as like I said, I think there are 5 major arguments in this debate, and it's those 5 major arguments that I'm going to focus on, and it's those 5 major arguments that I'm going to rebut. However, you find that as the judge, I have seen 7 arguments that run through the debate. And of course, this is rare. Usually there are 4 or 5. So I've seen 7, and you've left 2 arguments unattended, 2 very important arguments. So this is usually my recommendation. I think that if you're looking at arguments and you feel that 1 is key, 2 is not, 3 is key, 4 is not, it is still important to address all of them as they are, to avoid being penalized for not addressing them. Because you see, your position as a debater in a debate is different from my position as a judge in a debate. When I'm judging you in a debate, I am simply unbiased. I'm looking at all of you as just debaters trying to bring something on board. As a debater in a debate, you are biased to wanting to win, but you're also biased to wanting the other team to be lesser than you or more or less experienced. And usually it is that bias that informs your mind on what is major and what isn't, which is why you should avoid choosing. And instead, if you feel that the argument is really minor, then give it less time, as less the time as you possibly can, so that you can move on to others. But you avoid ignoring arguments on basis of the fact that you think they are not major in a debate. And sometimes debaters get really rattled when they lose a debate, and I think that they did a really great job, which is important, of course, to think you did a great job because you would have. But it is also important to note that your position within a debate is different from the position of that person who is looking at all of you as just the same and just judging you on basis of how well you presented and how well your content has been. So what should you know as very important during judging? Because for you to be a good debater, you also need to factor what the judge is looking for within your speeches. Firstly, this tournament being one that is ideally and primarily based on advocacy, you will be expected in most cases to have a policy, because we are looking at the problems facing children, and it would be a little and that is only for this tournament. Do not use my words against me in another training. So for this tournament, we are going to be paying attention to policy. So you may want to factor in policies within the debate because the judges are looking out for them, because we have been informed to look out for them. Secondly, we are looking for content. If you are going to be talking policy, you know very well that within policy lies so many things that need to be backed up by research, they need to be backed up by content, and we are going to be actively, and I mean actively, looking out for that content. Thirdly, we are going to be looking at engagement. I have been in a debate. I remember, I think that was a month ago, and it was one of the best debates I've ever attended, which is very unusual because it was a debate between high schoolers. It was a very good debate. And at the end of the day, we had such trouble telling who won. But the only thing that put the other team higher than the losing one was on basis of engagement. Debate is not debate without engagement. If you come and you feel that you have the autonomy of speech and you should be listened to, and you do not care to listen to what the other party is saying, then you'll probably stand a very, very huge chance of losing the debate, regardless of how well your content has been formulated, how well your speech has been presented, how well composed, and of course, how well articulative and analytical you have been, it will still require you to engage the other speakers, the other bench. So if you want to stand a chance, you want to engage the other people as possibly as you can. And that is not only in terms of points of information, but also in terms of argumentation and rebuttal. Respond to their statements, respond to their arguments, respond to their speeches, respond to their content, respond to their evidence, respond to everything that holds in a debate, because you will be accountable for that. Thirdly, the other thing that you should know that we are looking out for is, of course, presentation. Now, a lot of people will tell you that debate is all about content, it's about argumentation, it's about rebuttal, but they are lying. Absolutely. Debate is also all about presentation. Alongside all these things, presentation is key. And what is going to be constituted in presentation? I know that I cannot see you physically, so I'm not going to say you're not smart, not that that would even matter. But what really matters is how well a speech is brought forth. You will agree with me when I tell you this, that the best speakers are not usually those with the best content. No, nada, nope. The best speakers are usually those that are, one, the most persuasive, and two, the most composed, three, literally the most lyrical to listen to. I have seen several times debaters who come on floor and you wish they were the winning team, even though they may not be. So as much as you want to have all the other factors, as much as you want to incorporate content and rebut and engage and all these things, you also want to be smart in terms of presentation. You want to be smart in terms of analysis. You want to be smart. Your nature of presentation. I've seen a number of experienced debaters in the group, and I am thinking that they're in here with us. And if they are, then you know that that debate is 80% about persuasion, and persuasion lies in presentation. How much do you convince me of a particular aspect? We are talking children, and we know children are a touchy subject, even for so many other people. So how well are you going to phrase their problem? And if you think they don't have it, how much are you going to convince me that they don't? So persuasion is comprised mostly in presentation, and I want you to pay attention to how well you present within these debates. That also, of course, is about the network. Please ensure that you have network, and this is a humble plea. Please ensure that you have network. Move around your home and find that particular place that is the best for you to speak. Secondly, and this is on the technical part, please ensure that you are around for the debates, and if you're not inform us in time. Usually the biggest thing with online tournaments, the biggest problem is the debaters register and then don't turn up, and that's really I won't use the word bad. It's really bad, because you waste time for so many other people when we have to move around looking for us. Language is important that you communicate earlier, or you turn up when you can, because you should turn up, because you register. So please turn up for these tournaments and have network and work on your presentation. What was the last thing that I wanted to talk about? This debate is going to be really interesting. It's going to inform a lot of minds on so many things. And I pray that we give it our very best. I was told that this training is supposed to be a short one, precise one. So if you have any questions, please ensure that you ask. And if you do not, please ensure that you read the material that I'm going to send to the group in a few minutes. And of course, ask if you have any issues arising. But that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah Kenyana Sope, from her presentation. Get out the clear line that she was communicating. Of course, without a good argumentative foundation, then your speech or every speech would simply be fragile and fickle. And therefore, in this tournament, It is up to every speaker to incorporate that in their speech and bring out an idea that could be a great policy input. So keep in mind that whereas there is an element of competition in this tournament, there is great need for you to put more emphasis on raising advocacy or policy issues within your speeches. Thank you so much, Sarah Kenyana. She's the last speaker we had on our program. In case you have questions, reach out to Sarah Kenyana. Sarah Kenyana, you also refuse to give us your WhatsApp and your mobile numbers. So kindly type them in the chat room so that people can easily reach out to you and answer on the debate format that we are going to have and on the dispensation of an advocacy tournament as it should be. Lastly, let's hear from Mubangiri Prosper, also lead us into the final grace, and then we'll meet this afternoon at 2 p.m. For the future. Kick us off into the mood and spirit of the EITAW debate tournament, where all of us will be concerned about the violence inflicted on the child. Thank you so much, Mubangiri Prosper.
Yeah, thank you, Onesimus. I'm trying to put on my video for those who don't know me so that you can put face to the name and maybe the voice. My name is Prosper Mbandizi, and I work as the policy and campaigns specialist for World Vision Uganda. World Vision is a Christian partnership. It is a child-focused development, humanitarian, and advocacy organization that works with the most vulnerable of the vulnerable. And we run a global campaign in our global offices, about 100 countries, called It Takes a World to End Violence Against Children. And we believe in igniting movements, in harnessing the power, the potential, the dynamism, and the goodwill of the young people like students to push an agenda that can create a violence-free world, that can allow the children to live up to their maximum and full potential. I'm sorry I didn't join at the beginning. I had a meeting somewhere with some other partnership, and I came in at the end, but I trust, because I think I've been part of several debate tournaments from around 2018. I'm a federal debater myself, but I trust, I know you're in good hands, the good tournament director, the adjudicator, Mr. Massa, my daughter Kenyana, and the rest. I know we shall be able to do a good job and to fulfill the mission for which we are here. And given, I think Onesimus called me to close us off and maybe pray for us then. It is a tradition for World Vision that we end our meetings with the grace. So those who can pronounce with me the grace, we can pronounce it together and end. You can unmute and pronounce the grace. And may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God,
the fellowship of the Holy Spirit,
be with us all now and forever.
Amen.
Thank you, amen. I can look forward to a very wonderful tweet chat and a very wonderful debate tournament. See you. Thank you. God bless you.